Argonaut running back Gil the Thrill Finnerty and Edmonton Eskimo quarterback Matt Dunnigan have been two of the most dominant and exciting players in the CFL this season. Dunnigan can still run and scramble, but has become a more effective passer. Finnerty's blocking, catching, and running have added a dimension to the Toronto offense. And they will both be on stage tonight at Exhibition Stadium on the Canadian Football Network. Football Network. Tonight's game from Exhibition Stadium in Toronto is brought to you by Carling O'Keefe Breweries. The CFL. It's the game around here. After going winless in their first 3 games, the Toronto Argonauts have won 3 games in a row, and they've used the passing of Gilbert Renfro. Big defensive plays from people like Rodney Harding and spectacular catches by Darryl Smith. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our CFN telecast from windy Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. One of the Argos who's been responsible for the turnaround in the 3 straight wins is quarterback Gilbert Renfro. Gilbert, your thoughts on being an Argonaut now and having started 3 games in a row and won 3 games, you must feel pretty comfortable.
Yes, I feel really good about it. I think that the 3 wins really helps my confidence after we lost 2 straight and tied 1. So it really was a big boost for me, especially being traded from Ottawa and hadn't had a chance to play yet.
A big adjustment between the 2 systems?
Not necessarily a really big adjustment. I think that Ottawa last year ran a similar offense to this one here, but I like the way they throw the ball downfield much more.
You'll get quite a test tonight from this Edmonton defense.
Yes, I think they've really gelled a lot in the last couple of weeks, and I think they've come in pretty high. They've won 2 straight, so I think it's going to be a really big test for us.
Gilbert Renfro will start at quarterback tonight for the Toronto Argonauts. His counterpart will be Matt Dunnigan, and our Neil Lumsden is with Matt Dunnigan.
Matt, what's the difference between you as a quarterback last year and this year?
Well, 1 year's experience for one, and the other, I think, that adds to me being a better quarterback, if you say so, is our experience as a ball club and as an offensive unit. Those guys have another year's experience. Speaking of my receivers, offensive line, backs, and whatnot. And it's a team game, it's a team concept, and when they're doing their job, it makes it a lot easier on my job.
You looking forward to throwing Brian Kelly into the record books tonight?
Well, I'd like to see that happen, but that's not our main objective. Our main objective is to win the football game, but I certainly would like to be part of it. I've been a part of so many of his other touchdowns. I'd like to be a part of the 89th one as well.
Have a good game tonight.
Thanks a lot, Neil.
Both the Eskimos and Argos have a chance to move into first place with a win tonight from Toronto. This is the Canadian Football Network. Into the second quarter, 10-7 Toronto. Argos with the ball, and here's a hitch screen to Dwight Edwards. Now they're going to rule it incomplete pass, I'm sure. It looked like the football bounced. Yes, it's second down. Jake Ireland calling it an incomplete pass.
I'd say that's a great play if you're allowed to bounce the ball out there, but looks like he had some room too.
A routine one-hopper for Dwight Edwards. Hank Olesic and Lance Chomick do a little loosening up at the Argo bench. Second down and 10, Toronto at the Argonaut 48-yard line. Paul Pearson in motion to the right. Renfro, the short drop, the quick pass. It's complete to Darryl Smith, who spins away, gets to center field and into the Edmonton 54-yard line. Maybe the 53.5. He'll be a yard and a half short of a first down. See if the Argos will gamble.
Last week he made some spectacular catches against Calgary, and this is just a quick out. Reads the defense and now has to turn it into a play, and that's exactly what he does, breaking a tackle from Junior Robinson.
Smith caught 6 balls against Calgary last Sunday for 95 yards. Argos are third down and nearly 2 yards to go, and they are going to go for it after some indecision. Some extra blockers in, and they will gamble.
I wonder if Renfro will try to change his count up a little bit and draw Edmonton offside.
He'll toss to Gil Finnerty. Finnerty is to the 50-yard line of the Eskimos into the 49. He'll have the first down with a 5-yard run. Good job of blocking by the Argos to give Finnerty the room he needed.
Well, for a short yardage play, that takes a little bit long to mature, but they do a great job. You see Ferrone coming around, getting in people's faces, so Finnerty has a place to run. You don't have to knock people down. You just have to get in their way, and Finnerty just finds the lane and gets the first down.
Tony Johns also did a good job helping with the blocking, and the Argos are 1st and 10 at the Edmonton 50-yard line. Darrell Smith comes in motion right. And here's the hitch screen to Dwight Edwards, but he is grabbed, spins away, and finally goes down for a loss of a yard or two. Don Wilson made contact with Edwards as soon as he got the football.
There's some great hustle by Stuart Hill. He's playing end, and that screen out to Dwight Edwards is a good 25 yards away. Right on the snap of the ball, he just flies out, tries to make the tackle.
Dan Ferrone's in his 7th year with the Argonauts, and we're going to put our cameras on him on this play and then come back and show you what he did. Argos are 2nd down and 11 after losing a yard. They're at the Edmonton 51-yard line. 9.5 minutes left in the 2nd quarter. Renfro has time, throws down the sidelines, but Edwards, the intended receiver, did not turn around for the football, and the Argos will have to punt.
As an offensive lineman, you're going to see different fronts. The offensive line has to be coordinated and ready to read because the defense is going to come from different angles. Sometimes they have to pass off, and that's exactly what he does. He sees Dan Kearns come across his face and a blitzing linebacker. Does a great job of just sliding laterally with Danny Bass and pushing him out of the way of the quarterback.
Dan Ferrone handling Danny Bass very nicely on that play, but it didn't help the Argos, and they're 3rd down and 11 from the Edmonton 51, and Hank Elesic will kick into a light wind, and he hits a dandy. His best of the night. Gizmo Williams at the 1. Henry Williams to the 5, and then grabbed at the 6 or 7. Good coverage again by the Argos. We have 8 and 53 seconds remaining in the 2nd quarter. Edmonton Eskimos 1st and 10 from their 7-yard line, and Tom Richards has a well-thrown Matt Dunnigan pass go right through his hands.
Some quick change work going on the sidelines. A few of the players are changing their jerseys. They might be coming a little bit too wet and not allowing them to move properly.
It was Randy Ambrosi who put on a different sweater, I think, to go in and play end on that short yardage situation, and now he gets the old one back on.
Boy, that's a pain to change your sweater every time you go on and off the field.
He'll be doing that all night. Dunnigan gets away from the rush, takes off with the ball. He's out to the 17-yard line, and he'll be very close to an Eskimo 1st down. Dunnigan looked like he ducked in self-defense there and looked up, and everybody gone by him.
Well, when defensive linemen rush, because they've usually got an offensive lineman in their face, they have to reach out. And a simple duck like that, and Tom Clements and Tom Wilkinson were so good at it, and Clements still is, but sometimes they just miss you altogether.
They'll measure. And Dunnigan did get far enough, just barely, for an Eskimo 1st down.
Straight back, the pocket closes down. It's just, it's almost like a peekaboo. He puts a great move on Mabry.
Ooh, did he ever? Just over 8 minutes left, 2nd quarter. Matt Dunnigan and the Edmonton Eskimos trailing the Toronto Argonauts 10-7. The Argos have beaten Edmonton 5 straight times in the regular season here at Exhibition Stadium. Dunnigan's 1st down pass is complete to Tom Richards, and he'll have a gain of 6 or 7 on the play.
And Bob Obilovich didn't want to talk about that 5-0 record against the Eskimos. He figures he'd jinx himself. He just didn't want to discuss it. He's also looking for his 50th win as a head coach of the Argonauts.
Well, Obilovich is 7-3 overall against Edmonton since he became Toronto's head coach. Pretty impressive against one of the more dominant teams in the CFL over the last, well, a long, long time. 16, 17 years. 2nd down and 3. Dunnigan hands off, and it looks like the Eskimos will have a 1st down.
Chris Johnstone just takes what is called a belly. He steps out wide and comes back inside, and again, that play is designed to let the running back read what happens along the offensive line.
Dunnigan consulting the plays on his wrist as he brings the Eskimos out 1st and 10 from their 29-yard line. Stephon Jones and Sinkar wide left. Kelly and Richards to the right. And it's a draw play with Milson Jones, and he nearly lost the ball as he got back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Rodney Harding leading the Toronto tacklers in there.
You do your best to keep your arms and your hands dry, but sometimes it's impossible, especially when you're on the field for more than 2 or 3 plays. And sometimes the harder you squeeze it, the more apt you are to fumble because it's so greasy.
I'd have to say you fumbled over there just a little bit. It is.
I didn't have enough stickum there.
The field is very wet, and it's very humid. 2nd and 10, Eskimos. From their 29, there's a flag on the play as Dunnigan stands in the pocket and lays it over the middle for Brian Kelly, but he can't get to it at the 50-yard line.
Outside. Toronto number 90. 2nd down repeated.
Marlon Jones jumped offside for the Toronto Argonauts, so the Eskimos will get the 2nd down over and will only have 5 yards to go. That's the costly kind of a penalty that the coaches just hate to see, because if he doesn't jump offside, Edmonton's punting the ball now.
Yes, you hate to give up penalties or have penalties in situations where you keep people alive, and that's he comes out of a 3-point stance, jumps up, is ready to go, his momentum's going forward, and then just doesn't time it properly.
2nd and 5. Dunnigan gets the ball off. Stephon Jones wide open at the 45-yard line. He's brought down right there, maybe back at the 44, but he has a gain of 10. And the Eskimos, with the second chance, get the 1st down.
Well, Matt Dunnigan stands under there. He knows he's going to get pressure. Doran Major blitzes, and now it puts some pressure on guys like Willie Pless, who know they're a man short in the secondary. He's got to get a little bit wider to take away that pass pattern from Stephon Jones.
Leading Argo tackler with 32 on the season coming into this game. Willie Pless made another one there. But the Eskimos got a 1st down up at their 44. 1st and 10. Dunnigan with pressure, setting up a screen. And it's no good. Intended for Chris Johnstone. But Willie Pless was there to break it up.
Well, one of the things that Bob Obilovich and all coaches like about Willie Pless is his running ability. He's not overly big at 5'10" and 210 pounds, but he moves so quickly to the football, and he reads this perfectly. He reads the offensive lineman set, then go to the right, and are trying to get in front of Chris Skinner. He goes in and breaks it up and almost makes an interception.
They say Willie Pless has a nose for the football, and he wasn't that far away from picking that one off. Second down.
Dream.
Yeah. 2nd and 10. Eskimos at their 44. Here comes a blitz. Dunnigan gets the ball away, but nowhere near an intended receiver. Dunnigan did save the loss, though, as the Argos had people coming after the Edmonton quarterback.
Well, it might have looked like Matt Dunnigan threw that ball away, but the receivers have to adjust when a defensive back blitz. And Major once again comes from the short side. Dunnigan reads it and is ready to throw a quick pattern, but Stephon Jones continues upfield instead of breaking a 10-yard out.
Eskimos had a long scoring drive early in the 1st quarter. Milson Jones with a touchdown, but since then, Toronto's defense has done a very good job of containing the Edmonton offense. 3rd and 10 Eskimos at their 44-yard line as the Argos lead 10-7 with 4.5 minutes left in the 2nd quarter. Jerry Cowrick to punt, and he gets a good one away. Darnell Clash at the 20. Here's a reverse. And Selwyn Drain is not able to get much more out of it. And the Argos have the football with 4:24 left in the 2nd quarter. Argos 1st and 10. Here's a pass complete to Johns at the 40. He's out to the 42 of Toronto. Gain of 12 or 13 yards. The Argos will have a 1st down. They lead 10-7 with 4 minutes, 10 seconds left in the 1st half. That last punt by Edmonton's Jerry Cowrick, the clock we're using to time from the snap of the ball until it lands in the receiver's hands was 5.7 seconds. Now, we were told 6.5 was acceptable, 6.5 or longer, but he had good hang time on that one, and they got downfield very quickly, so 5.7 looked pretty good to me.
Well, that's what they shoot for, but there hasn't been a hang time yet over 4 seconds, and they would like to see it around 4 or 5.
Gil Fennerty carrying on 1st down and finding little room through the middle, a gain of 2 or 3. Jerry Cowrick in his 2nd game as the Edmonton kicker.
Asked about his punting last week against Saskatchewan, Fairgelly said he did a good job for a young fella, having not kicked in a game. Punts average about 41 yards, but again, the thing he said was so impressive about him is he hung the ball up there well.
Gilbert Renfro on the field before the game looked over and said, I know that kid. He was in Ottawa. Jerry Cowrick did have a tryout with Ottawa when Renfro was there. Didn't make it. 2nd down and 7 Argos from their 44. There's a flag as Renfro grows long, but Joyner had broken off his pattern. And the ball is incomplete. There is a flag on the play. 3:08, the time left in the 1st half. Third and 7, Argos at their 44. Alesic to kick, and not a good kick again. It bounces at the 30 of the Edmonton Eskimos. Henry Williams picks it up back at his 26-yard line, and he can't find any room as the Argos were all down there surrounding Gizmo Williams. Our next game on the Canadian Football Network will be Sunday. Calgary Stampeders try to put the brakes on that 6-game losing skid. They're in Ottawa, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Sunday, Calgary at Ottawa on CFN. 2:54 left in the first half at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. The Argonauts leading the Eskimos 10-7. All the scoring in the first quarter. Fennerty and Milson Jones with the touchdowns, and Lance Chomick with a field goal to put Toronto in front. Dunnigan on first down has lots of time, and that was nearly picked up by Selwyn Drain and taken in for 6 points. He was one step away from celebrating.
Well, Matt Dunnigan takes a good look at the defense and decides to go to possibly his third receiver, but doesn't really step in it and kind of flicks it out there. A little bit of a wobble on the ball, allows Drain to move up. Like you said, could have been 6 points.
Selwyn Drain telling his teammates that one had touchdown written all over it. Second down and 10, Eskimos at their 26-yard line. Lots of motion this time. Dunnigan quick pass to Sinkar at the 35. He's brought down at the 36, maybe the 37-yard line. Selwyn Drain made the stop. Eskimos are very close to a first down, and they'll have to measure for it. Looks to me like they have.
They're going to be very close, and that's just tremendous communication between a receiver and a quarterback. Marco Sinkar has to read the defense and then look to Dunnigan, because he'll be reading it at the same time. The ball's released, makes a completion.
Eskimos with a 4-2 record coming into this game, tied with BC for first in the West, although the Lions have played one fewer game. They're 4-1. It is first down Edmonton. So a win tonight would move the Eskimos into first place, and the Argos at 3-2-1 are just a point behind the 4-1 Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the East. So if they can win this game, they jump into first place. 2:36 left in the first half. The clock running as the Eskimos come out first and 10 at their 36.5-yard line. Jones and Sinkar wide left. The motion goes to the right this time, and that's the way Dunnigan goes. Rodney Harding giving chase. Dunnigan to the 40, and he steps out of bounds at the 40-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. Runs a long way to gain 3 yards. Tom Richards of the Edmonton Eskimos, and we're going to focus our cameras on him on the next play and then come back and show you what he did.
Very deceptive runner, very powerful. Talking to Brian Kelly, who worked out with him in the offseason with the Alberta track team. The university team said he pulls away from people after 40 yards. He's so strong when he runs.
Pretty good 5th-round draft pick out of the University of Alberta. Not very often you get a top-quality player that late in the CFL draft. Willie Pless is the injured Argo, and on that run by Dunnigan, he fell against the Argonaut bench and is shaken up. Second down and 7, Eskimos at their 40. Quick pass, it's complete. And the receiver, Tom Richards, is tackled immediately by Selwyn Green, and he's going to come up a yard and a half short of a first down.
When Richards approaches the line of scrimmage, regardless if it's a passing play, he will have to read the defense and where the linebacker is. The linebacker goes to his outside. He will come inside. Now he's inside not only the linebacker, but the defensive back. Dunnigan reads it and hammers the ball in there.
Selwyn Drain was second on the Argos in tackles coming into this game with 28. The Eskimos come up almost 2 full yards short of a first down, so they are not going to gamble. With 2 minutes left, they'll kick on 3rd and 2, and again we'll time the ball from the snap until it lands in the receiver's hands. Jerry Cowrick receives a good snap and gets a very high kick away. Darnell Clash at the 24-yard line. 6.4. That's considered pretty good, and the hang time was just over 4 seconds, the hang time of the punt. So that was well done by the Eskimos. A good kick and good coverage downfield.
All this talk about timing, you may wonder why. Well, it's the longer the ball's in the air and the sooner the ball can get back to the punter, the better chance the cover team has to get down and surround that punt returner. You want to limit punt returns to 1 or 2 yards maximum.
Clock down to 1:47 left in the first half. Argos lead 10-7. They start from their 23-yard line. Darrell Smith in motion. Renfro throws complete to Pearson at the 30. Paul Pearson to the 35 and driven out of bounds very hard by Don Wilson. at the 36-yard line, but it's a 12-yard gain for Pearson and an Argo first down.
Take a look at Willie Pless, who was injured in that last play. Matt Dunnigan ran out of bounds. You hope it's not going to be that foot that he broke last year. You try to gear down there, and there it goes. Grabs the left leg. Could be a pull in the hamstring.
That's the report we get on Willie Pless. You can see him grab for the back of his leg there. First and 10. Argos, their 36. Renfro gets it away with pressure, and it's complete to Darrell Smith up at the 45-yard line. Cliff Toney was all over Smith, but Renfro put it in there very nicely. Gilbert Renfro throws the ball with a lot of snap to it. He only has a very quick release.
Strong arm, the ability to throw the football quickly, like you say. A lot of the power has to come from the shoulder and the elbow.
Well, he has been impressive tonight and impressive since he joined the Argos from the Ottawa Upriders. Second down and about a foot. Argos handoff to Tony John's right side. He'll have the first down and get up near the 50 of Toronto with 1:20 left in the first half.
So it's confirmed that Willie Pless has pulled that left hamstring, and that would be a tough loss for the Argonaut defense because of not only being a leader, but his great pursuit ability around the football.
That'll force rookie Bruce Elliott into the game. He's the leading special teams player on the Argos, but has precious little experience in the linebacker position. First and 10. Argos at their 49. Renfro is going to be, well, I thought he was going to be picked off. He threw that one right at Ronnie Howard, but Howard couldn't get down and get a handle on it. Renfro got away with one there.
Well, Stuart Hill's getting closer and closer as the game progresses. He's now not only using his strength to take a shot at Schultz, but now he gets that arm and the power and quickness to get around that tackle.
Stuart Hill, the leading sacker in the CFL with 12 coming into this game. He's been somewhat quiet. Second and 10, Argos at their 49. Here comes a blitz. Don Wilson. Renfro turns it the other way, and he can't get it off. He's sacked way back at the 30-yard line by defensive halfback Don Wilson, who blitzed on the play. That's a loss of 19 yards.
Well, almost, you can see that Renfro comes back, escapes the first pressure. Now rolls out, can see Wilson, surprises that he sets up. He tries to set up and throw the football instead of continuing to run wide, trying to beat Stuart Hill to the outside.
The Eskimos have wisely called a timeout with 59 seconds left in the first half. That will stop the clock, and the clock won't start until the ball is snapped for the Argo punt. Had they not called the timeout, the clock would have started going as soon as time was whistled in, and the Eskimos would have been deprived of about 18 or 20 seconds of time with the football. So they're looking to get a score and erase that 3-point deficit. The Argos leading it 10-7 with 59 seconds remaining in the first half. Good snap, and Olesic hits a very low spiral punt. Henry Williams at the 40 to the 45 to the 50. There are flags down as the Gizmo may go. He's to the 30s, brought down at the 25-yard line by Selwyn Drain, but there are flags back where Henry Williams punt the football.
Well, if you don't get hang time on your punt, you don't allow the man to get downfield.
Illegal block. Edmonton number 47.
And if you can't get downfield, you can't get close enough to the returner. And this is the man right here you don't want to give any breathing room.
Larry Ruck was called for an illegal block, wiping out that return by the Gizmo.
That's a close call. Ruck has his head and shoulders in front of Drain. Gets a good block on him. Guess they figured it was just a little bit too much behind.
Very close call.
Well, that man wants to score every time he gets the ball kicked to him. There's no bones about it. He doesn't look for a good return. He looks for a touchdown.
He's had a number of good returns wiped out by penalty, too. He's getting frustrated. 42-yard return is taken away. The Eskimos back at their 34-yard line with 42 seconds left in the half. Dunnigan puts it up long for Stephon Jones. Down at the 27, it's picked off by Reggie Pleasant. Reggie Pleasant with his 4th interception of the season, and this is only his 5th game with the Argos. And Lance Chomick liked it.
That's a tough play for Matt Dunnigan. He's rolling to his left, has to stop and plant. as Bayless coming right down his throat. Now the ball's up in the air too long. Gives the defenders a chance to close in on it. Pleasant comes up with the reception.
2 interceptions against Calgary for Pleasant last week, so the 5'9" graduate of Clemson University settling nicely into that right corner spot. 33 seconds left now in the first half as the Argos take over on their 28-yard line. And Renfro looks like he'll keep it on the ground, handing off to Tony Johns. He's across the 30, maybe to the 31 for a gain of a couple. And the clock down to 29.
Well, this is the time the Eskimo defense, or any defense, would be focusing on that football. If they're going to hand it off and run it, let's everyone go after the football because it'll pop out easily.
Toronto Argonauts riding a 3-game winning streak. And they've contained that Edmonton offense, which has scored 80 points in the last 2 games, very well in this first half as they lead 10-7. This is Tony Johns carrying on second down. Hey, is a nice run up across the 40 to the 41. Gain of 10 yards and an Argo first down with 5 seconds left on the clock.
Well, when you have a running back other than Gil Fenerty that can run the football like that, not only inside but outside, you certainly open up the possibilities of running different types of offenses and not allowing defenses to key on a guy like Fenerty, who last week against Calgary was about 45% of their offense.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of Gil the Thrill tonight. 1st and 10, and Renfro is going to put it up on what should be the final play of the first half, and Stanley Blair has the best shot at it. So the Toronto Argonauts are getting a good test tonight from the Edmonton Eskimos, and so far they've handled it very, very well. BC and Winnipeg will play tomorrow night in Winnipeg, and that one will be interesting.
Will be a battle.
Yes, indeed. Our second half kickoff by Jerry Cowrick. Jake Vaughn has it at the 30 of the Argos, and he's up to the 38, maybe the 39-yard line. Kearns and Dermott leading the tacklers downfield. Leo Cahill, the general manager of the Argos, is going to join us in the booth in just a little while.
I'm sure some changes have been made in the second half in the dressing room. The quarterbacks have been talking to the coaches. Defenses make adjustments as the game go on, and the offenses also have to adjust.
Gilbert Renfro played the entire first half. And he will start the second from the Argo 39-yard line. Joyner and Fenerty split wide left. Renfro drops the pass, and he won't get it off. Stu Hill came through that. There's Warren, pardon me, 38, not 36. Brian Warren, as somebody forgot to pick him up.
The backside blitz. Brian Warren in his second game as the Eskimo comes in free, gets a clean shot at the quarterback, and if your quarterback's sacked, that's fine, but you never want to give anyone a clean shot at your quarterback because that's when the injuries happen.
Plays like that where the ball often comes out. I'm surprised Renfro was able to hang on to it, but he was. Brian Warren playing just his second game in the CFL. Second down and 17. Argos back at their 31-yard line. Renfro has some time, pumps it over the middle, but Pearson can't get it. Up at the 47-48, Don Wilson on the coverage. And very quickly, Toronto will have to kick the ball away.
Well, Renfro had to get rid of the ball a little bit early, and he paid for it on his back.
Dan Ferroni is shaken up. Willie Pless has returned, pulled his hamstring in the first half. We'll know very quickly whether or not he's going to come back in the game once Edmonton gets the ball.
And Dan Ferroni back in the lineup after missing a number of games because of a pulled hamstring. Hamstrings seem to be the problem this year, and Bob Obilovich can't afford to lose Pless and Ferroni.
Now, if the Argos win tonight, it's the 50th win of Obilovich's head coaching career in the CFL. And he said to us, that's not really a big deal. He said, when I get to 100, I'll get excited.
Feet and legs get tangled. So many people go down in a pile. It's not hard to get a leg caught and get it twisted. That's exactly what happened. As Freddie Dunbar, the Argo trainer, escorts him off.
Third down and 17. Argos from their 31. Hank Olesic. What wind there is at Exhibition Stadium, it's not very strong, favors the Argos in this third quarter, and Olesic pounds one down to the 21-yard line. There's the time elapsed from the snap of the ball till Henry Williams caught it, and the Gizmos on the move again. And he's to the 40. There are no flags. This return will stand, and the Argos' plan to kick the ball away from Henry Gizmo Williams has been a dismal failure.
Well, Mr. Excitement, we've said that when he gets the football, he just doesn't want a good return. He wants to score. And now he's trying to reach a wall that the Eskimos are going to create for him down the sidelines. As you should see a lot of the backs of jerseys of the Argos. Now he just turns downfield, and he not only gets free on his own, but he breaks tackles, too.
55-yard return by Henry Williams, who had a 14.5-yard punt return average. Coming into this game, he's up that a little bit. Dunnigan on first down, throws down the sideline, but no good. Intended for Stephon Jones, but he got all wrapped up with the defender over there and didn't get in position to catch the ball.
Well, it could be pretty exciting if they ever get him at the wide receiver spot, and they might try to do that sometime. He backs up Brian Kelly and Stephon Jones, and he's still learning that position. He has to learn to read defenses, but if there's a guy that should be called Mr. Excitement, it's the Gizmo.
They took him out of one game earlier this year because of the Canadian-American ratio problem, but he's back in there, and what a threat he is. 2nd and 10, Eskimos at the Toronto 41. The pass by Dunnigan is complete to Stephon Jones down at the 25-yard line. That's a gain of 15. And an Eskimo first down.
Well, you have to respect Stephon Jones not only as a pass receiver, but because of his speed. He's got tremendous speed. He just goes down and curls up. He finds an open area in between the zone, catches the football. They're doing what they did in the first quarter, just taking little bits and pieces.
Yeah, that's right. 10-7, the Argos lead. But the Eskimos are at the Toronto 25 with a 1st and 10. Dunnigan wants a quick pass, no good. Intended for Chris Skinner, who was wrapped up on the play and really didn't have a chance to get to the football.
Well, they call that a hot or a quick throw pattern. Skinner's going to release inside, and Jim Iliopoulos, who normally plays defensive end, they like to drop him back occasionally to mix up the look on defense. He does that and tackles Chris Skinner as the ball goes by, let's say.
I thought he tackled him just a little bit. Dunnigan, excellent numbers, but unable to produce a score since the 4-minute mark of the first quarter. 2nd and 10, and Dunnigan goes down for a loss of 7 or 8. Iliopoulos was one of the Argonauts. Jim Iliopoulos playing his 2nd game at defensive end. Gerald Bayless was there as well. And they sacked Dunnigan, and we'll see Jerry Cowrick in the Edmonton field goal.
Well, here's a classic example of somebody who's just going to keep coming and keep coming. He's pretty well blocked by Leo Blanchard. He's pushed down, but he just keeps scrapping away, crawling along the turf, and gets a low shot at Dunnigan.
Iliopoulos was reported to the Argos, but pulled a quad muscle before training camp opened. He went home. He phoned a couple of weeks ago and said, "I'm well." They said, "Come on back," and now he's playing. Cowrick will try a 35-yard field goal. Dunnigan puts it down. The kick is up. And it's right through there, and the game tied with 11 minutes and 47 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, I had followed his career and knew that he... I'm watching the game as I'm talking. I followed his career, and I knew that he had gone... he was a 7th-round draft choice of New Orleans. That's his hometown, and he was very put off because he thought he'd be a 1st or 2nd-round draft choice. Had a serious head injury, and because they drafted him that low, he decided to go to Europe and get away from everything and play a little football over there and test his head. And we got him when he came back, and he's the kind of a kid that likes to travel and likes new experiences, and he really loves Toronto. I think we're going to be able to keep him.
Have you lost the desire to coach?
Only on game days.
Have you lost the desire to do color commentary?
Yes, I've lost that desire. I was talking to Neil about it before. There's too much travel.
Leo, thanks very much. We wish you well in the season ahead, and thanks for joining us.
Okay, nice seeing you guys.
Leo Cahill, the general manager of the Toronto Argonauts, and as Leo Cahill leaves our booth, Gil Finnerty fumbles the football. Well, when the Edmonton Eskimos recover.
Well, when you move around like that, when it's a lot of traffic in that area, you got to make sure the ball's tucked away. And he's not a fumbler, but that one popped out.
Just as we were talking about Gil the Thrill, he turns it over. And the Eskimos take over at the Toronto 50-yard line. 10-10 the score. Matt Dunnigan under pressure, and he won't get away from Rodney Harding. Back at the 50, Dunnigan will lose 10.
Hey, Rodney Harding showed some great quickness and ability there. 6'2" and 250 pounds. It's not easy to catch up to Matt Dunnigan. He drops straight back, and he kind of hesitates there because he's looking for a quick read, then gets flushed out quickly. Is taken down, he takes quite a jarring, and I'm not sure if it's something that's in the face area, but the doctors are looking closely at him.
Well, he landed very hard on his back and on the back of his head. It looks like the kind of deal, Neil, where you get winded, but now he's reached back to his leg, so there may be a muscle pull. Damon Allen warms up. will go in at least for one play once Dunnigan is able to get off the field.
Well, it must have been serious because Dr. Cherry on the right there comes out and examines him early, and that would be a big blow to the Eskimos if they lose Matt Dunnigan.
Matt Dunnigan being examined at the Edmonton bench. It's an injury to his right leg that they're looking at. Damon Allen into the game at quarterback for the Eskimos, and he faces a 2nd and 20 at the Edmonton 50-yard line. Allen not wasting any time getting the ball in the air, complete to Tom Richards, but they rule that he came down out of bounds at the Toronto 37-yard line.
Well, you have to wonder what happened, if it was actually the being thrown down onto the turf or the twisting of the body. When he rolls out, you're always exposed, especially from behind, and he just almost seems to fall underneath it, and we won't even guess at what's wrong until we get a report.
Dunnigan is being taken to the Edmonton dressing room, and at this stage, this does not look very good for Matt Dunnigan. 3rd down and 20. The Eskimos, the football at their 50-yard line. Preliminary report on Dunnigan is that it's a hamstring pull. And Cowrick does not get a good kick away. It bounces back upfield. Cowrick is coming down, and the Argos finally pick it up at their 42-yard line. Cowrick actually ran past the football as an Argo appeared to get in his way, and the ball bouncing back upfield, and he went right by it.
Well, it gives him that crazy bounce often when the ball's kicked that high and it comes down with the point first. It will bounce backwards. But one of the Argos did a good job of turning around and looking for him and blocking him out of the way at the same time.
Cowrick, as Damon Allen is on the phone, got about 10 yards out of that kick. 12 yards.
Yeah, he almost seemed to short leg it. The leg was bent, and as soon as he kicked it, he knew it wasn't going to go anywhere, and now he's after it. And there's a heads-up play. Reggie Pleasant blocks him out.
Reggie just gave him kind of a little push there. 1st and 10, Argos from their 48. Renfro screening to Finnerty. He's to center field. And out of bounds at the Edmonton 45-yard line. 17 yards for Gil Finnerty.
And you have a back of this quality, and with his ability to run the football, if you can get him the football when no one's around him like a screen pass, it's a bonus, and that's what he is. He's wide open here. The offensive lineman come upfield, a good block put on Larry Ruck. Now he gets inside and then dips right back out to the sidelines.
Center Ian Beckstead is the man who made the good block that Neil alluded to. Bob Obilovich looking very calm and cool. Argos 1st and 10, Eskimo 45. Gil Renfro is in trouble. He gets the ball away, though. Intended for Paul Pearson, incomplete. But Renfro would be pleased to save a potential huge loss.
Well, Dan Kearns in hot pursuit. The Eskimos work their defensive linemen. They really have 5, but only 4 in the game at one time, obviously. Dan Kearns goes in, changes with 1 man every quarter, or even sooner, depending if they're tired, and they don't even lose anything with his ability.
You know, Obilovich told us that he feels better about his quarterbacking situation than at any time since the healthy days of Holloway and Barnes a few years ago. They've gone through some quarterbacks here in Toronto. They like these 2 young guys now, Renfro and Congemi.
Well, could be a possible casualty. The referee's mic. Got to tuck everything away now.
Jake Ireland is ready to resume. 8 minutes, 26 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. It's 10-10, Edmonton and Toronto at Exhibition Stadium, or Exasperation Stadium, as many in Toronto call it. They're building a dome here, of course, and it'll be ready by 1989. 2nd down and 10, Argos. Renfro long down the right sideline, and it's knocked away by Wilson. Intended for Paul Pearson down at the 5-yard line.
Well, if Bob Obilovich had a flag in his pocket, I think he would have thrown it right there because he believes Stanley Blair interfered. That looks like good defense. They haven't tested Stanley Blair. Most other teams go at him early. He's to the outside. I think he just does a good job of taking the inside away and staying in front of the man.
Well, again, the defensive back has a right to go after the football, and it looked okay to me. Once again, keep in mind that objectivity is not a long suit of coaches in situations like this. 52-yard field goal effort by Lance Chomick. A little wind behind him, and it hit the upright. And it bounced wide. Lance Chomick can't believe his misfortune. But believe it or not, that's what happened, Lance.
Well, he knows as soon as he hit the ball, he hit it awfully well. Sometimes tape doesn't fix everything, especially when you're dealing with a microphone. The hands of a surgeon right there.
We're working on Jake Ireland's microphone.
Lance Chomick knows as soon as he hits the ball, he's hit it well. Good rotation, and now he's just sort of move a little bit. Get in there.
The body English, it doesn't work on the golf course or on the football field. So the Eskimos with a dead ball take over at their 25-yard line, and Damon Allen is heading upfield. He's across the 35. Marlon Jones grabbed him around the ankle, or Allen would have gained a lot more. Lance Chomick in his third year with the Argos out of the University of Toronto. All-Canadian, place kicker in the CFL last year.
Well, Bilovich said Ilisic and Chomick have a unique situation and a unique relationship on the sidelines. One or both of them chart special teams plays. Or give them something to do, keep them involved in the game. They're always talking about it, and they're aware of what's going on in the field.
Jake Ireland has his microphone back. We're pleased to report. He's trying to stay on top of everything here at Exhibition Stadium. 7 minutes left, third quarter, 10-10 Eskimos and Argos. Here's a draw play. Chris Skinner across the 40 to the 41. He'll have about 5 yards.
Well, I think consistency on the football field is important, especially in defense. They have to react more and understand what the man beside them is doing. There are no designated or called plays like offense. You have to learn to feel where the other man's going.
Coming into this game, the Argos had given up an average of 431 yards total offense per game. They have done a good job tonight. Second down and 6 Eskimos. Damon Allen tries to swing it out to Chris Skinner, but the pass was well short of Mr. Skinner, and the Eskimos will be forced to punt.
Damon Allen had the opportunity to watch the football game for the first half and a little bit, and I'm sure that he learned something watching Matt Dunnigan. But now he's got to go in and execute, and it's not easy coming off the bench, having sat around for a quarter and a half.
Jerry Cowrick got a very poor punt away last time. We'll time it again from the snap of the ball until it lands in the receiver's hands, if it lands in the receiver's hands. Third down and 5 Eskimos, the ball at their 41, 10-10 the score. Good snap. Cowrick has time. He gets a high kick away. Darnell Flash at the 32-yard line. Had trouble handling it. He's going to swing wide right. That's the kind of hang time they're looking for. Hang time and snap time. And Flash, after a long run, is stopped at the 20-yard line of the Argos. 5 minutes, 53 seconds left in the third quarter. Irving and Neil Lumsden at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. 10-10, 5:49 to go in the third quarter. Argonauts take over after an Edmonton punt on their 28-yard line. And the pass for Pearson, incomplete. Pearson not able to hang on to a bit of a bullet by Gilbert Renfro.
Joe Farragelli was saying yesterday that the quarterbacks that aren't in the game, and you take a look at Tracy Ham right there and Damon Allen just behind him with the helmet, call plays on the sideline as the game goes on. He feels it's important for especially the maturity of a Tracy Ham, and it keeps Damon Allen in the game, keeps him active.
Second and 10. Argos at their 28. Lots of time for Renfro. Gets it away over the middle and over the head of intended receiver Darrell Smith up at the 45. Smith looking for a flag, and Renfro looking to get out from under a pile. Stu Hill made him pay for the throw.
Well, Stuart Hill is working hard on that tackle. That time he was over Chris Schultz. He's giving him all the moves he got. Schultz is doing a good job of stepping back, keeping the feet wide, and not letting him go around him.
Ian Beckstead, the center for the Toronto Argonauts. He's the center, but he does not do the third down long snapping. That's done by rookie Bruce Elliott. Third and 10. Argos at their 28-yard line. See if Ilesic can keep this out of the hands of the return men for 6 seconds. If he does, that's what the Argos are looking for, and that is what they're looking for. They're not looking for the gizmo to have the ball, though. He has it this time and gets 8 or 10 on the return, which, if you're in Toronto's shoes, you consider pretty good. There was, however, a penalty flag, and we'll do a check on Jake Ireland's mic here right away.
He has to check out that injury in a minute.
Illegal block. Edmonton number 45. First down.
Hey, they did some good fix-it work on that microphone. What have you got there, Neil Lumsden?
An example of what John Mandrich wears. He's got a shield underneath his helmet made of impact-resistant plastic. It goes underneath to protect the eyes. It's very flexible. A lot of players are starting to wear it, both the clouded and the clear.
Damon Allen tucks it under after being back in the pocket, and he's out to the 35-yard line, but he fumbled the ball, and the Argos have recovered. We'll come back and take a closer look at that helmet and the visor that is used by increasing number of CFL players. But again, Damon Allen's run ending in a turnover by the Eskimos.
Well, Rodney Harding flushes out Damon Allen. He puts a great move on Don Mullen, but that ball pops loose, and hasn't been handling the ball like everyone else. It's going to be tougher for him to hold on to it, especially when he goes upfield and starts to head towards the ground.
Mark Mabry, the man who stripped the ball away from Damon Allen. The Argos at the Edmonton 34 after the turnover. John Congemi is in at quarterback, and he hits Finnerty down at the 28-yard line, and that's a gain of 5 or 6 yards for the Argos.
I don't know if I'm surprised to see Congemi in. We know Bob Obilovich and the rest of the coaching staff believe he's going to be the quarterback of the future, but I don't know if change for the sake of change is a good idea. Of course, that's why they're on the sidelines and I'm up here. They make the decisions. They know the tempo of the football game, and he certainly started off awfully well.
2nd and 5. Argos at the Eskimo 28.5. Toronto in a 10-all game trying to capitalize on the 3rd Edmonton turnover of the night. Congemi putting it up long down the right sideline. No good. Stanley Blair does a good job with Dwight Edwards to knock that ball down.
As we said, John Mandrich wears this visor. Underneath it's attached. Little fasteners like this, almost like you'd use on a garbage bag. Very flexible. Lasts about 6 games. Some players take it off when it rains. Some players don't. Again, the cloudiness doesn't bother the view of the players even at night, but it does protect the eyes, and that's what it's for.
As I said, we're seeing more and more of those in the CFL. John Mandrich injured on that last play, and he has one on. Now, this may be exhaustion more than anything else because Mandrich has been out, and Joe Ferraghelli was concerned about his game condition, so he may just be out of gas. We hope it's nothing more serious than that.
There's a look at Gilbert Renfro, who's played fairly consistent today, but not enough to stay in the football game. And Obilovich said, nothing personal. We're just going to get you out and let John Congemi take a shot at it because they haven't been moving the ball in the last 2 quarters.
Well, they made a very big issue out of signing John Congemi in the offseason. They are hoping he will be the quarterback that will lead them to good things for a good number of years ahead. And he has not disappointed in the times he's had a chance to play this season.
As we look at John Mandrich, we see Ken Lowe in the green, and behind him, Dwayne Mandrusiak, who is the equipment manager. Kenny Lowe will look at the injury, but Dwayne Mandrusiak has always got his eyes on Joe Ferraghelli, and he will tell Dwayne to keep him down longer. Let's get the strategy, or let's talk about something on the sidelines. Ferraghelli will give him the okay to bring him off the field. That's how it works. Sometimes the referees stand in the way, though, and then they have to work on another sign.
Well, he may have been favoring his right arm a bit as he came off. Joe Ferraghelli became a grandfather for the 4th time just the other day. His 4th grandson. No granddaughters. He says he's offering a bonus for the first granddaughter. Lance Chomick is on 3rd down and 5 to try a Toronto field goal from the 36-yard line of the Eskimos that would put the Argos back in front. Chomick has lots of distance, and he's right down the middle, and with 3 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Toronto Argonauts have gone back in front of the Edmonton Eskimos. With the score, Toronto 13 and Edmonton 10. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations from coast to coast to identify themselves. You're watching the Canadian Football Network.
This is ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
First down, Eskimos.
Well, the Argos and Eskimos have a recent history of very close games. John Mandrich being examined at the Edmonton bench, and Chris Skinner with the football running around the left side, and he bowled somebody over there on the far side of the field. as he gains 7 or 8 yards. Chris Skinner at full speed is not easy to stop.
No, he certainly isn't. Both running backs have great size. Skinner's 5'11", 215 pounds. And if you can get him around the corner and he drops that shoulder, he can punish some defensive backs.
John Mandarich in some pain, and it is his right arm that they're looking at. I was saying that these teams have played very close games over the years. 4 of the last 5 regular season games they've played have been decided by 6 points or less. Second down and a couple. Eskimos. The handoff to Milson Jones. He finds a big hole and is down to the Toronto 50-yard line. Safety Rick Ryan brought him down.
Well, that short yardage, everyone's up on the line of scrimmage. The only people back off the line are a couple of defensive backs, and Milson Jones makes a quick cut upfield, and then there's only 1 or 2 people to beat. If it wasn't for Rick Ryan, Milson Jones might have scored in that play.
Eskimos down 13-10 with 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter. 1st and 10 at the Toronto 50. Damon Allen came on to relieve Matt Dunnigan, or replace Matt Dunnigan, here in the third quarter when Dunnigan pulled a hamstring in his right leg. Jones carrying on first down, and he gains 5 or 6. Willie Pless made the tackle. Pless pulled a hamstring in the first half and went out of the game, but he has returned. Second and 5, Eskimos. Brian Kelly wide right. Stephon Jones wide left for Damon Allen. And Allen swings it out here to Skinner, and he is grabbed immediately by Doran Major and stopped for a gain of 1 or 2 yards. And those Toronto defensive halfbacks, Neil, have really done a job tonight of coming up and covering very close on those little short passes.
Well, Bobo Village was looking for aggressive DBs, the type of defensive back that may be beaten one play, but come back and say, try me again. And not only being aggressive on the pass, but they have to be able to close on the run.
Boy, that's tight coverage.
And John Mandarich, it's been diagnosed that he has a hyperextended elbow. I don't know if they can do much to it. A very painful injury. As you can see, Mandarich's a very tough individual, but I don't know if they'd try to tape it up and send him back in.
Jerry Cowrick will punt on 3rd down and 3 from the Argo 43-yard line. If that clock gets past 6 seconds, and Cowrick will have done the job the Eskimos want him to do. He gets a good snap and gets a poor kick away that goes out of bounds around the Toronto 20-yard line, maybe as far up as the 25. Wind seems to have picked up a little bit, and it favors the Argos in this third quarter, and Cowrick has had a tough time with it.
Well, on a punter's face to kicking into the wind, he's got to make sure that it's got enough momentum to get itself and then turn over. And turn over, I mean, by the nose goes up and then starts to head down with the nose. If the stomach of the ball stays up, the wind can then push it back and it makes it flutter. The ball doesn't go very far.
That's exactly what happened on that play. John Congemi from the University of Pittsburgh. He is the 2nd all-time leading passer in Pitt history, and he has the Argos 1st and 10 of their 23-yard line. And it's a screen, but the Edmonton Eskimos had that one figured out, and Congemi could only get rid of the football and save the loss, and that's what he did.
Well, that's a safe play. He can see as he drops back, and he tries to make it look like it's a drop back pass, but the defense reads it well of the Eskimos. Just converge on Fennerty. Congemi, the only thing he can do is throw it into the ground. Stuart Hill will check the defensive or the offensive tackle, realize he steps back a little bit too quickly. Now it's time to backpedal and get into the play.
2nd down and 10, Argonauts from the Toronto 23-yard line. 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Congemi has some time, gets the pass away, complete to Darrell Smith up at the 35-yard line. Cliff Tony right there with him. So that's a gain of 11 or 12 and a Toronto 1st down.
That's a smart play by Smith. He goes down the field far enough where he's past the 1st down marker and then comes back and catches the football.
That is Toronto's first down of this second half. So the defenses have dominated. Argos leading 13-10. This will be the final play of the third quarter, barring a penalty. And it's a 1st and 10 from the Toronto 35, and Joyner has the ball go right through his hands down at the 50 of the Argonauts. 13-10, the Argos lead. The third quarter has ended.
That's the final play of the third quarter.
Fourth quarter begins with the Argos 2nd and 10 from their 35. Dwight Edwards with a football, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 52 of Toronto, but not before he gains 17 yards and an Argonaut first down.
Dwight Edwards has become a more disciplined receiver this year, according to Bob Obilovich. He has to come down. There's a specific point that he has to make his cut on. But again, what he does there to make it easy on the quarterback, he cuts on the line of scrimmage where the marker is and then comes back to the football. Makes it easy on the quarterback when he does that.
Stanley Blair was playing way off Edwards that time. 1st and 10 Argos at their 52-yard line. John Conjemi throws over the middle, and it's complete to Smith at the Edmonton 47-yard line. That will be another Toronto Argonaut first down.
It's interesting, having talked to both head coaches yesterday, the Argos like and will continue to call plays for their quarterbacks. They feel that it helps the young quarterbacks out, takes some pressure off them, where the Eskimos, for Matt Dunnigan and Damon Allen, rather have them into the football game. They feel they can call their plays out on the field. They're into the game a little bit better, have a better feel for the game.
Argonauts with 250 yards of total offense. We have just begun the fourth quarter. Here's the toss to Gil Fenerty. He has not been able to break it away tonight. Fenerty stopped that time for a gain of a yard or two. 13 to 10. Argonauts leading Edmonton. Dan Kearns, he will play the rest of the game, we presume, if John Mandarich is unable to come back after hyperextending his elbow. Dwight Edwards, wide right. Ken Joyner splits left on 2nd and 8. Argos at the Eskimo 44. Toronto working into the wind in the fourth quarter. Conjemi is throwing long. Smith is wide open. He has it at the 5. He's down at the 1. There are flags on the play. There are flags, and Stuart Hill has signaled holding against the Toronto Argonauts.
Holding. Toronto number 69. Second down repeated.
Stuart Hill was right.
Dan Ferroni gets caught holding. Often wonder why the quarterback has so much time to throw. Usually it's because of great protection, but sometimes you cheat a little bit.
Boy, Smith was wide open on that play. He actually...
Bass sneaks up to the line of scrimmage. Sorry, right there, and he's putting pressure. He's trying to create a pick situation for Zachary, but the pick doesn't happen on the line of scrimmage because Ferroni has a hold of Bass. The Argos lose a rather large play to penalty. They'll have 2nd down over and 18 yards to go from center field. Conjemi in the pocket. Gets the ball away, looking for Smith again. No good at the 25, but there's a flag, and this will be interference against Cliff Tony, who appeared to hook and grab Smith just a little bit as the ball was getting there.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 6. First down.
That's a tough call. Conjemi rolls a little bit right and then looks back immediately as Smith in a one-on-one situation. Almost looked like Cliff Tony knew he was beat. He had to catch up a bit and maybe a hand on the hip, and that's what he was called for. The referee was right in the spot.
Another one of those very close ones. Did not impede with Smith very much, but he was called. And the Argonauts have the ball on the 25-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos, 1st and 10. Conjemi will swing it out to Gil Fenerty, and he will go nowhere. Stu Hill grabbed him back at the 30-yard line. That'll be a 5-yard loss.
Well, impressed by the way the Argos are reading certain plays that the Argonauts, or the Eskimos are reading certain plays that the Argos are throwing at them. That's twice we've seen Stuart Hill come off the ball, read what's happening in the backfield, and pursue.
Stuart Hill having a tremendous season. 12 sacks coming into this game. He had only 17 all of last year. 2nd down and 15. Argos at the Edmonton 30. Big rush. Conjemi gets it away, and Dwight Edwards has it. Down at the 12-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. John Conjemi does a very, very nice job of seeing that blitz and getting the ball away quickly.
He certainly does, and he throws the ball in exactly the right spot. Dwight Edwards knows that Don Wilson, the halfback there, has blitzed, so that lane is open. Gets inside of Stanley Blair, makes an easy catch, but the adjustment by Edwards and the read by Conjemi is what makes that play go.
Dwight Edwards, 33 years of age in his 10th CFL season. With a key catch, and the Argos are first and 10 at the Eskimo 13. Toronto leading by 3 points. Kangemi, the hit screen. This is Joyner with the football. He's inside the 10, down to the 9. A gain of 4.
Well, they've run that play 3 times tonight, every time to Dwight Edwards, and now they flip sides. They've let Ken Joyner take a shot at it. Oftentimes, if you read keys defensively, you figure that if they're going to start to rotate to Dwight Edwards, as far as the defense goes, we'll go to the other side with it.
Joyner had caught 24 passes for over 400 yards coming into this game, but he has been held in check. Second down and 6. Argos, the Edmonton 9. Kangemi, great pressure. Danny Bass has him and drops him at the 12-yard line. So the Argos are going to have to settle for a Lance Chomick field goal try. Once again, the defensive teams toughen up. And they've been doing that all night long, or most of the night anyway.
Well, it's a semi-roll. He gets great pressure by Zachary, and Danny Bass kind of plays the middle. He floats. He does nothing but read the quarterback. The quarterback throws the ball. He turns to pursue. If he doesn't and tries to run, Bass closes in.
John Kangemi is shaken up on the play.
The pressure from Zachary ruins the play initially. Bass comes in and swings him down. In the process of swinging him down, there's nothing harder to hit than the AstroTurf. That head just whiplashes and pops on the turf.
That's exactly what I was going to say, the whiplash effect. And Kangemi, of course, did have a couple of fractured vertebrae in the back of his neck earlier from a James Curry hit. And Bob Obilovich concerned that that isn't the problem again.
Well, the AstroTurf, Matt Dunnigan was hurt earlier on in the game, and it looked almost harmless, like how could he pull a hamstring? But the AstroTurf, being as hard as it is, can hurt you on impact. And when Matt Dunnigan was swung around, for example, and landed on his rear end, that impact could cause a pull. So, you know, you've really got to be careful on this turf. The surface is so hard.
Gilbert Renfro heating up to go back in and quarterback the Argos. As John Kangemi remains on the turf at Exhibition Stadium, and they're really taking a close look at the young Toronto quarterback.
Well, he's getting up very carefully. His first game back last week against Calgary, he wore a smaller neck roll that you might have seen an offensive lineman wear to protect that neck. Tonight he's not wearing it. Obviously, he was confident that the neck was 100%. Might have helped in that play.
So as Kangemi leaves to a nice round of applause, Lance Chomick heads out on the field. Mike Soroshko will hold the football at the 18-yard line. And Chomick can give the Argos a 6-point lead if he can make this one into the wind. Ball is down, it's up, and it's right through there. So with 10 minutes and 12 remaining in the fourth quarter, the Argonauts go in front by 6.
So look at John Kangemi, looked at by the doctor. Oftentimes a bang in the head like you saw can result in a concussion, and that's what they're looking for. And John Manders is finished for the day, cutting the tape off that left arm with the ice on the right elbow.
Did you ever have a hyperextended elbow?
Something like it. It's not much fun.
Hurts. Here's Chomick's kickoff. And Stephon Jones has it for the Edmonton Eskimos, and he's knocked out of bounds at the Edmonton 42 or 43. 10:07 left, fourth quarter. Argos leading the Eskimos 16-10. And these teams have played some terrific games over the last 4 or 5 years. Almost all of them very, very close and going right down to the end. And it looks as though we may have another one.
Well, they have been going at each other at a pretty good pace tonight. Lots of good hitting, and Damon Allen now should maybe go back to what was successful in the first quarter for Matt Dunnigan and early in the second half. Picking away at the defense. Let's take what they give us.
Eskimos have been averaging 420 yards in total offense per game, and they've been held below 300 tonight. That's quite a tribute to the Toronto defense, who once again do a very good job. Don Moen and Marlon Jones on Marco Sincar as the Eskimos tried to set up a screen to slot back Sincar.
Don Moen, the Iron Man of the Argonauts, in his 89th regular season game, does a good job of his chin when he gets a chance to read the screen, but he avoids the block and just leaps over and makes the tackle on Marco Sincar. And the reports are John Kangemi, the injury is not serious, but whether he'll be back or not, we're not sure.
Doesn't have the appearance of somebody who's coming back soon, but we're happy to tell you that he is not seriously injured. 2nd and 11. Damon Allen has a man wide open. It is Marco Sincar, and he has the ball at the Toronto 45-yard line.
Well, Damon Allen gets good protection. He gets some pretty good heat from Marlon Jones, but Hector Pache is able to keep him outside, and he has to wait for Sincar to get in the area. Now he has to drop that ball over Don Moen, who jumps. Not good enough. That's a good pass.
Faragelli said he expected Toronto to play a lot of zone defense, and they were going to try to find some seams. They haven't found many, but they found a gap that time, and it gave them a first down at the Toronto 45-yard line. Skinner in motion right. Allen throws quickly. Sincar has it at the 40. He's down to the 35, inside of the 34 of the Argos. 11-yard gain and a first down.
Like Matt Dunnigan, Damon Allen was able to read the blitz. They bring Don Moen and Dorn Major to the short side of the field. A quick drop. Damon Allen reads it and gets it out to Marco Sincar. And again, tremendous communication. As soon as he comes off the line of scrimmage, Marco Sincar knows the ball's coming to him.
Eskimos at the Argo 34, 1st and 10. Damon Allen throwing, and it's complete to Tom Richards down at the 23-yard line of the Argos, and that's going to be another Edmonton Eskimo first down.
That Argonaut defense is becoming more aggressive as the game goes on. This time to the wide side of the field. Selwyn Drain blitzes in the halfback spot. Tom Richards is able to get in the area, catches the ball, and is knocked down by Darnell Clash.
First down and 10 Eskimos at the Toronto 23. Allen throws quickly, and Skinner could not hang on to the ball. Chris Skinner and Joe Faragelli disappointed that play didn't work. It was well executed except for catching the football.
Well, once again, when you get an opportunity to get a play like this in, you want to catch the football. The linebackers are blitzing, so Skinner's got the middle wide open. He's covered one-on-one by Ryan. The ball's in there, just not caught.
2nd down and 10 Eskimos at the Argo 23. Brian Kelly wide right this time, still looking for that record-breaking touchdown. He has the football and is knocked out of bounds at the 13 of the Argos. Now, Kelly very clearly came down out of bounds, but they rule that he was pushed out and caught the ball in the field of play, and it's a first down.
Brian Kelly cuts on a dime, comes back, and Darnell Clash reminds him that they're still in a football game, even though they haven't thrown too many balls to him tonight.
Actually, he did get a foot down just before he went out, and they will have to measure for the first down. Brian Kelly dries off. Seven minutes, 24 seconds left. Fourth quarter. Argos leading the Eskimos 16-10. And that one is close. Third down, says Jake Ireland, with about an inch or two to go. John Conjemi, who was shaken up and had his bell rung just a few minutes ago, is back loosening up on the sideline.
The Eskimos bring in their short yardage offense. Dan Kearns, James Zachary will go up on the line of scrimmage to give them a little bit more power coming off the football.
Third down and inches. Eskimos at the Argo 13-yard line. Henry Williams is the only player who's away from that center area. He's split wide left. As Damon Allen keeps the ball off the left side, he did not get very much, but he didn't need very much. It looks like he got enough for a first down, although Jake Ireland wants to measure just to be sure.
You can take the quarterback sneak for granted sometimes. If the offensive line doesn't get low and have that big surge off the ball, they can be stuffed by a defense. It's happened before, and they, like you said, they want to make sure that there is absolutely no question this is a first down.
I don't think Joe Faragelli particularly liked where they spotted that ball, and they did get the first down by the length of the ball, and that's all. As the Argos did an excellent job of plugging up the left side of the Edmonton offense. Eskimos have 19 first downs, which is quite a few, but they've only managed to score 10 points. But they're 1st and 10 at the Toronto 12. And Damon Allen is going to run. Don Moen getting chased. Allen throws. Touchdown. But Damon Allen Allen was over the line of scrimmage, and there was an earlier flag as well. Allen was at the 10-yard line when he threw the ball, and the line of scrimmage is the 12, so that was an illegal pass, but there was a flag even before that. So I don't believe there's any way this touchdown can stand.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver, Toronto number 44. Illegal forward pass, Edmonton number 9. First down repeated.
Mark Mabry was called for illegal contact, pass interference by the Argos, and then the illegal pass by Dunnigan. They cancel out, and we'll have to play over.
I think Joe Ferragelli's happy with what's going to happen here, and Bob Obilovich is still concerned.
So, it's first down over. 10 yards to go. Eskimos at the Argonaut 12-yard line. 6.5 minutes left, fourth quarter. Damon Allen looks in the end zone, and it's knocked away at the last minute by Selwyn Drain.
Well, that's just a tremendous effort to react to the football. Damon Allen looks it off a little bit and then goes to his right. Selwyn Drain has the man behind him. He does a good job recovering and then makes an acrobatic type of leap. Otherwise, that's a touchdown.
Chris Skinner was in behind Selwyn Drain, but Drain was able to get up and knock that one away. 2nd and 10. Eskimos, Argo 12-yard line. Toronto leading 16-10. Allen looking in the end zone for Marco Sincar, who collided with the defensive halfback and fell down. There are no flags, to the chagrin of Joe Ferragelli.
You almost think the ref didn't throw the flag there because there was no way anyone had a chance to catch the football. That's how they will make the call. If no one had a chance to catch it, why throw a flag? It can't be interference. Jerry Cowick, during the week, practiced with a black tee and then decided to paint it white with an orange square in the middle. That way, there's no problem with tape peeling off as far as the mark goes. When the quarterback puts it down, he has a good point of focus. That's what he watches until the ball goes down. That's innovative. That's something new.
I tell you what, those kickers have always got the wheels turning.
One of the reasons they did make the change is last week when Matt Dunnigan placed the tee down, they usually keep one finger on the tee to spot it. When he picked his hand up to catch the ball, the tape stuck to his hand, the tee flipped out of the way, and Dunnigan had to pin the ball on the ground. Cork still was successful in the field goal, but they figure it's time for a change.
Big Hector Potier shaken up. 3rd down and 10. Eskimos at the Argo 12-yard line. Cowrick will try from the 20-yard line with Damon Allen holding. And he pounds it through there. So the Eskimos are within 3 Argos with 5:46 left in the fourth quarter. You could safely describe this as a typical Toronto-Edmonton finish. Argos leading by 3 with 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And after the Cowrick field goal, Toronto will take the ball at their 35. Gilbert Renfro back in at quarterback, completes it to Smith. And he's up to the 45.5. He'll have an Argo first down. Following tonight's game, we'll be selecting the Canada Lease MVP. Canada Lease, a public company providing leadership in the world of high technology and capital equipment leasing. Canada Lease makes your money work for you. Gerald Bayless, Don Moen, Marlon Jones, and some of the other Toronto Argonauts on a warm, humid evening, looking a little drained, and hoping their offense can keep the ball for a while. 1st and 10 as Renfro sprints right. Here comes the rush. He gets it away, and it's no good. Intended for Edwards. There's a flag on the play. Holding will be called against the Toronto Argonauts.
Holding, Toronto number 23.
Tony Johns, Neil, I didn't see who it was, but had somebody all wrapped up for Christmas.
Well, sometimes you get beaten, and you don't mind getting beaten physically every once in a while. You just don't want to make mental mistakes, and he's got his hands full. Neither Johns nor Finnerty could corral Stuart Hill.
Actually, it wasn't as bad as it appeared to be at first. He just kind of gave him a shove from behind. Which really doesn't fall in the bounds of fair play. First down over for the Argos. 20 yards to go from their 35. 4:50 left. Fourth quarter, 16-13 Toronto. Gilbert Renfro with time has a man open, and he finds him up at the 49-yard line. It's Kenny Joyner. And that's a 14-yard gain. Gets them within 6 of a first down.
Joyner to the backside of the formation. Split out wide, just runs a straight out. Nothing too fancy. Kangemi looks to the right and then throws back, and Joyner does a good job of keeping those tiptoes in bounds.
And Renfro, an excellent job of getting the ball there. 2nd down and 6. Argos at their 49. 4.5 minutes left, 4th quarter. Renfro, lots of time, rifles it, and what a catch by Joyner at the 40. He's down to the 39 of the Edmonton Eskimos. Kenny Joyner comes up with a terrific catch for the Argos.
Boy, he certainly came down, prepared himself for a hit, because usually when receivers have to come across the middle, they're going to have to deal with linebackers or safeties coming across, and he gives Renfro a perfect target and literally snatches the ball away from the other defensive backs. Takes a pretty good shot here from Junior Robinson. An arm across the face in that area of the mask that's open. Looks like it stunned him pretty good.
You know, if I'm Gilbert Renfro, I'd take Ken Joyner out for dinner, because he threw that ball into a crowd of people, but he put it up high enough to give Joyner a chance to go up in the air. But that's just a terrific catch by Joyner.
Well, if he's going to take Joyner out for dinner, he's going to have to take out Daryl Smith after last week's performance, because Smith was making catches like that in Calgary.
And these young receivers for the Argos, Joyner in his 2nd year and Daryl Smith in his 2nd year, the Argos have stayed with them, and they appear to be developing into outstanding pass catchers. 1st and 10, Argos from the Edmonton 38-yard line, and we have play whistle dead by Jake Ireland. And I think he's going to call the Argos for taking too long to get the play off.
Well, Dan Ferroni doesn't agree with the call.
Time count violation.
Yeah.
Toronto number 14.
They're complaining that they started that 20-second clock a little bit too early. And that can be one of the problems when you send plays in from the sidelines. Everyone wants to talk about it before they send it in. And that takes up about 7 or 8 seconds sometimes. And then it's awfully hard to get to the ball before the 2 zeros show up in that time clock.
It cost the Argos 5 yards, 1st down and 15 from the Eskimo 44. Renfro throws, and it's no good. Cliff Tony got a hand in there to knock it away. Intended for Daryl Smith. 3:41 left in the 4th quarter now. Toronto leading by 3.
See Ken Joyner passing the play on to Gilbert Renfro. I imagine it'll be something that wouldn't take too much chance as far as Renfro throwing the ball away, and I'm sure they're also telling him, if you have to eat the ball, eat it, don't turn it over.
2nd and 15. Renfro gets the ball away over the middle. Joyner has it. Touchdown. He nearly lost it, but Kenny Joyner was able to hang on. What a gorgeous throw by Gilbert Renfro.
It seems like Joyner came in and just said to him, throw me the ball. I'll catch it. I'll run a post. Great protection. He hangs in there and hangs in there when the pressure closes in. Joyner gets up in the seam between Junior Robinson and Ron Howard with Dan Bass behind. But that's a perfect pass. He has to drop that over Danny Bass, who's pursuing, in between 2 defensive backs of Robinson and Howard. And then Joyner fingertips it, corrals it before he goes over the goal line.
And as you said, Neil, Renfro had big pressure coming, but he stood in there till the last possible second. That's just a great play.
Oh, a super touch on the ball. Sometimes you have a tendency to want to zip that in there and get it in there quickly. But that needed all the touch he had, and it was exactly what he wanted.
Landmark adds the convert. 3:22 to go. Argos up by 10. Kenneth Joyner just hauled in a 44-yard touchdown pass from Gilbert Renfro to give Toronto Argonauts a 10-point lead over the Edmonton Eskimos with 3 minutes and 22 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Lance Chomick will kick it off. And he gets a good roll out of it before Henry Williams comes up with it, and he is down at the 26-yard line. Jake Vaughn leading the Argos downfield on the coverage. Ken
Joyner playing a big part of this football game in the second half. Looking downfield, he's going to read what the defensive backs are doing, and then he just accelerates through the seam, goes by everyone, makes a good catch.
He came so close to dropping that football. That smile wouldn't be quite so wide right now.
Ken Joyner from Kentucky State Colleges. Only 2 players have come out of that school and made the pros. Joyner and Rod Hill, who's a defensive back for the Detroit Lions in the NFL.
Joyner has got 5 passes for 92 yards in the second half. Injured Toronto Argonaut, and that's Doran Major, one of their defensive halfbacks on that kick coverage. Got a lot of players shaken up tonight. Joe Ferraghelli, the man in charge of the Edmonton Eskimos, talking with Gary Durchik, one of the assistant coaches that work under Ferraghelli. Bobilovich in his 6th year as the Argos head coach, and his supporting staff.
Joe Moss should also be included. He was a latecomer in the coaching staff. He's working with the linebackers and defensive line. Bob Bobilovich felt he could be a real asset to the team, helped out in training camp, then left for a while and then came back after they discussed it with Leo Cahill and Ralph Sazio.
Doran Major moves very gingerly to the sidelines. That will bring Jake Vaughn into the game. Rick Ryan will move from his safety spot to a defensive halfback position, and Jake Vaughn will play safety for the Toronto Argonauts.
Now do you go, if you're Damon Allen, you try to take advantage of Rick Ryan being out of position playing that halfback spot, or Jake Vaughn, who hasn't played all day but only on special teams.
3:05 left, 4th quarter. Eskimos down by 10. 1st and 10 at their 27. Damon Allen swings it out, and Nelson Jones can't get it at the 21-yard line. Allen threw it low, and Jones just couldn't go down and get it.
The Argonaut defensive backs will play what's called a 3 deep. They will drop the 3 defensive backs, let the linebackers and the underneath coverage take care of it. It's a safe defense.
Edmonton Eskimos 2nd and 10 from their 27, and Damon Allen will not get the football away as Gerald Bayless got through along with Iliopoulos to sack Damon Allen.
I'd say that's a pretty excited group of defensive linemen. We said they were going to play a safe defense. They're only bringing their down 4. And Bayless is able to get away from Leo Blanchard. He had a heck of a game last week against Calgary. Has been tied up to this point, but what a time to come free.
Bayless got down low on Blanchard, and just there was no stopping him on that play.
Well, 260 pounds. He's only 6 feet tall. He comes hard in the pass, but he also has great mobility. If they run the ball, he can move laterally awfully well.
Large sack for the Argos as we check out Jerry Cowrick on this punt. Darnell Clash at the 51, 6.4 from the time the ball was snapped till it landed in Clash's hands. That's not bad, and that wasn't a bad return by Darnell Clash. 4.5 minutes of hang time for Cowrick. So the Eskimo punting game worked well in most respects, except for the coverage, which wasn't quite what it could be.
Well, Darnell Clash knows he hasn't been returning punts like people are used to seeing him return punts when he was with the Lions. Some say it's the knee brace. I think it's just a matter of getting back into playing some football. This is his 5th game. I think the knee brace will bother him a bit, but once he gets used to it or takes it off, he should be 100%.
The cheering that you're hearing is for the Toronto Blue Jays, who won in Cleveland this evening, 15-1. They just announced that at Exhibition Stadium. And the Detroit Tigers were 8-0 winners. 2 minutes and 24 seconds left in the 4th quarter. The Toronto Argonauts have just called timeout. They enjoy a 10-point lead. Yes, the Argos have called a timeout. Bob Obilovich chats with Joe Renfro. Number 12 is backup receiver Mike Soroshka. Coming up on the Canadian Football Network, Sunday, Calgary at Ottawa, 4 Eastern time, and then next Friday, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers visit the Hamilton Tiger Cats at Ivor Wynn at 8 Eastern time.
The Tiger Cats had 2 weeks off. They should be healthy for that match.
Boy, they've been plagued by injuries, but they have a lot of their people back next Friday. Argos, 1st and 10, Edmonton 42. Handoff, Gil Finnerty. And he gets to the 39, maybe the 38 of Edmonton. Gain of 3 or 4.
The reason they called that timeout, they wanted to put a tight end in the game. They're going to run the football. They're going to try to control the football and run the clock down. They take away one of the slot backs, and they put in a tight end. Gives them a little bit more strength coming off the line of scrimmage.
Randy Ambrosi has donned number 78 to line up as a tight end. 2nd down and 7. Argos at the Edmonton 39. The clock is down to 2:03, and it's moving. Toronto leading by 10. Finnerty again, trying the left side, moving back. He got down to the 37-yard line, but then Brian Warren put a hit on him that he's celebrating right now.
Well, Finnerty gets outside and dances a little bit. It's a sweep left. Good job of blocking by Johnson. He cuts back, and bingo. There'll be some marks on somebody's helmet.
Eskimos have contained Gil the Thrill very well. He has 20 yards on 9 carries. 3rd down and 5. Argos, Eskimo 37. Chomik on to try a 44-yard field goal. Conjemi is well enough to hold. He was shaken up earlier. And it's blocked by the Eskimos. Cliff Toney back to get it at the 20-yard line. Danny Bass got through to get a hand on that and keep the Eskimos within 10 points of the Toronto Argonauts with 1:34 left in the 4th quarter.
Well, there's certain people you look to when you're looking for big plays on special teams along with defense, and Danny Bass has come up with many. He's able to come through that seam in the middle created by the defensive linemen. They are trying to create a gap. They will pull the offensive center and the guard away. Danny Bass turns sideways and slips through and blocks the kick.
Well, if the Eskimos are to use this to any great advantage, they'll have to get downfield very quickly and score. 1st and 10 from their own 24-yard line. Damon Allen down at the 15. Rodney Harding got through. He's had a prominent evening.
Becomes tough on the offensive line in this situation. Everyone in the park knows they're going to throw the football. They get an opportunity to get in a 3-point stance like a sprinter and come hard.
4th sack of the night for the Argos. Eskimos go without a huddle. They're 2nd down and 16 from their 17-yard line. 4-man rush by Toronto. Damon Allen has some time, and he gets it away to Stephon Jones, complete at the 40. He's down to the 43 of Edmonton. Hit hard there by Willie Pless.
The Eskimos now into their 2-minute offense where the plays will be called at the line of scrimmage. The snap count is already established. The ball usually comes up on 2. And now he gets a chance to look at the defense and make the call.
Doran Major is back in that Toronto secondary, so they're back at full strength there. 1st and 10 Eskimos from their 43. They're down by 10. Just over a minute to go. Damon Allen is going to tuck it under and run. He's to the 50 and brought down at the 51-yard line. Allen will gain 7 or 8 yards. Gerald Bayless caught up with him. Eskimos again will go without a huddle. 1 minute left. Allen with some time finds Stephon Jones at the 46-yard line of the Toronto Argonauts. That'll be a gain of close to 20 yards. And an Edmonton 1st down. Joe Ferragelli saying huddle up because the clock won't start after Jones went out of bounds until the ball is snapped.
The Argo defense will be in a situation where they've got 3 or 4 men deep with the instructions, never let anybody go behind you. Just keep backpedaling.
Well, the football fans in Toronto have been wondering if their Argos are for real. They carried a 3-game winning streak into this game. If they hang on and win, I think we'll have to say that they're for real. Here's the long bomb. And Kelly has it for a touchdown. The record-breaking touchdown. The 89th of his career. He breaks Tom Scott's record, and he does it fittingly with an outstanding catch.
Brian Kelly deserves all the applause there, not only breaking the record, but makes a tremendous catch. Not only can he run precise patterns, but he can be greedy and go up and take the football away from defensive backs. And he took quite a shot when he hit the ground on his elbows. You're not supposed to be able to beat this defense deep, but he does. He beats Darnell Clash. Rick Ryan comes over to try to help out, but it becomes a wrestling match. Brian Kelly won that one.
Jerry Cowrick adds the convert, and with 39 seconds still on the clock, the Edmonton Eskimos have moved back within 3 points of the Argos, 23-20, and Brian Kelly has a spot in the record book all to himself.
Well, I'm sure he'd like to have this catch under different circumstances because he's more concerned about winning the football game than breaking records. But with a man that has no speed, or at least that's what he tells everyone, he goes by Darnell Clash, and not a bad vertical jump either.
You know, when you watch him run on a play like that, it's laughable to suggest he has no speed.
Well, he's the one that tells you he doesn't have any speed.
I know. And he's, I think he's talked a lot of people into it, too, and maybe that's a ploy, is it?
Well, he's tricked some people. You know, the more you hear it, the more you start to believe it. But I think after watching that tape, other teams, there's 6 other teams that won't believe it for long.
A 46-yard Damon Allen to Brian Kelly touchdown pass, the 89th touchdown reception of Kelly's glorious career, breaking Tom Scott's record, or the record that he and Tom Scott have shared for the last few days. And the Major has given the Eskimos life as they attempt to come back and tie this game, force it into overtime. They're down by 3, and we'll look for an onside kick here. Jerry Cowrick lofts it up quite nicely, and Darrell Smith of the Argos made contact just before it went out of bounds, and they give the football to Toronto. The Edmonton Eskimos not in agreement, but that's the ruling that has been made, and the ball will go to Toronto with 36 seconds left in the 4th quarter.
Well, you knew if it was going to even be close in front of the Eskimo bench, there was going to be a discussion. Cowrick pops this ball up perfectly. Smith is waiting for it. The front line of the Argonaut kickoff return team is supposed to attack the Eskimos, knock some people down so there isn't that congestion when the ball comes down. Sometimes people have a tendency to be a little bit lax, assuming the ball is going to come down. It's no problem. That almost cost them.
Well, you couldn't ask Cowrick to do it much better than that, could you? That was letter perfect. But the Argos have the ball at the Edmonton 51, and Gil Fenerty is carrying on first down. He'll have a gain of 3. 32 seconds left, and the Eskimos want a timeout. As Fenerty helps Don Wilson up.
Well, the Argos will go into the huddle, and probably 11 other guys will say, hang on to the football, and that's one thing a running back doesn't want to hear, because if anybody knows, the running back knows the heat's on him. Do not drop the football. And don't even remind me about fumbling.
They were asked. The Eskimos did take their timeout as they want to stop the clock with 32 seconds to go. They asked Gil Fenerty the other day here how he likes his nickname, The Thrill. And he doesn't really like it. He says he can live with it. He understands that it's kind of catchy and people enjoy it, but he's kind of a quiet guy, and being called The Thrill doesn't thrill him to death.
Well, he's left it a little late, because he should have buried that nickname the first time he heard it, because I think it's going to stick it.
2nd down, Argos. Here's a handoff to Tony Johns to the 45 into the 44-yard line. That used up 4 seconds. It leaves the Argos with a 3rd down and about 4 yards to go, with 28 seconds to go, and they'll be able to run off another 18 or 19 before the ball is snapped. So the Eskimos look like they will get it back, but with only time for 1, maybe 2 plays.
Tony Johns, you get a good look at that elbow pad he's got on his right elbow. Usually when there's a little bit more padding in there, oftentimes it can be a problem. When you play on AstroTurf a lot, the elbows take a real beating at the running back spot. You have to do what you can to protect them.
Well, we talked earlier about how the Toronto-Edmonton games always seem to be close. This one no exception. 23-20, Toronto leading, and the clock is running. And Kolesic is in the punt. And we'll time this one again from the snap of the football. And Kolesic is going to take the penalty, the time count violation. They'll move it back 5 yards.
Time count violation, Toronto number 8.
So the clock is down to 7 seconds. And the Argos very conceivably could use up the rest of the time with this punt. So I guess Edmonton's only chance is to block it or have Gizmo bring it back a long ways.
Well, both can happen. Hank Olisic is a little bit more difficult to block his punts because he's a two-step punter. Doesn't take as long to get the ball off. And of course, as Bob Obilvich says, he thinks he's got the strongest leg as a punter he's ever seen.
Ooh, a bit of a high snap. Olesic gets a poor kick away that bounces and runs right down the sideline and goes out of bounds at the 6-yard line of Edmonton. And the time has expired, and that's it. Olesic, I don't think he was trying to do it that letter perfect, but it certainly turned out well. So the Argonauts make it 4 wins in a row, beating the Edmonton Eskimos by a score of 23-20 at Exhibition Stadium.
A dramatic touchdown off a fumble recovery made the difference at BC Place Stadium this evening. The BC Lions down the Toronto Argonauts 30-23, thus ending Toronto's 4-game winning streak and breaking the Leos' 2-game losing record in the process.
Set up by a great kickoff return by Dwight Edwards. The Argos scoring their first possession. Finished off by a Gail Renfro to Ken Joyner touchdown, 7-0. On the ensuing kickoff, the Lions get a big return. Mel Bird brings the ball back 65 yards. Finally brought down to the Toronto 35. BC, great field position, and they put it in. A couple of plays after Ray Krause had made some great receptions. He puts it in the end zone. Game tied, and Krause in the lineup because of injuries to John Henry White and Anthony Parker. Defensive lineman Greg Stuman has been a pleasant surprise for the Lions this year. James Parker's replacement gets Renfro for a loss, which helps set up a field goal, 10-7. On 3rd and 1 inside the BC 5, Kevin Cummings, subbing for Gil Finnerty, gets the first down. And then on the very next play, Renfro keeps the ball. The Argos have a 17-10 lead in the first half. Set up by an interception, Krause scores his second TD on the night, and the Lions tie the game at 17 late in the first half. Lions get a big break early in the third. Hank Olisic can't handle the high snap. Keith Gooch recovers the fumble on the botched punt attempt, gets into the end zone. The Lions take the lead 24-17. Turnovers have killed the Argonauts tonight. John Kangemi picked off in the fourth quarter by Gooch with Toronto driving. Gooch a big return. He takes it all the way back to the Toronto 35. It led to a field goal, 27-20 at that point, and the BC Lions have beaten the Toronto Argonauts. Final score, 30-23.
And a great football game. There were 2 exhibition games in the National Football League, meanwhile, as the Kansas City Chiefs defeated Houston 32-20, and the Los Angeles Rams over the Seattle Seahawks 23-14. Early games in
The Rough Riders in Regina today as the 2 last-place teams in the East and West divisions met. It's been a rough ride, certainly, for both teams so far this season.
Midway through the first quarter, Western Riders take the lead for the first time. Tom Burgess to Ray Elgard, 15-yard strike, 10-3 Saskatchewan. With the home team on top 13-6 in the second quarter, Ottawa ties it up. Todd Dillon to Gerald Alton, 7 yards, 13-13 at the half. Game tied at 16. Saskatchewan regains the lead midway.